All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and we'll start at the beginning. And it came to be when Yahuwah was to take up Eliyahu to the heavens by a whirlwind, that Eliyahu went with Elisha from Gilgal. And Eliyahu said to Elisha, please remain here, for Yahuwah has sent me on to Bethel. And Elisha said, as Yahuwah lives and as your being lives, I do not leave you. And they went down to Bethel. And the sons of the prophets who were at Bethel came out to Elisha and said to him, do you know that Yahuwah is taking away your master from your head? And he said, I also know. Be silent. And Eliyahu said to him, Elisha, please remain here, for Yahuwah has sent me on to Jericho. And he said, as Yahuwah lives and as your being lives, I do not leave you. And they came into Jericho. And the sons of the prophets who were at Jericho came to Elisha and said to him, do you know that Yahuwah is taking away your master from over you today? And he said, I also know. Be silent. And Eliyahu said to him, please remain here, for Yahuwah has sent me on to the Jordan. And he said, as Yahuwah lives and as your being lives, I do not leave you. And the two of them went on. And 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood facing them at a distance, while the two of them stood by the Jordan. And Eliyahu took his mantle and rolled it up and struck the water, and it was divided this way and that, so that the two of them passed over on dry ground. And it came to be when they had passed over that Eliyahu said to Elisha, ask what I am to do for you before I am taken away from you. And Elisha said, please let a double portion of your spirit be upon me. And he said, you have made it hard to ask, yet if you see me when I am taken from you, it is yours, but if not, it is not. And it came to be as they continued on and spoke, that see a chariot of fire with horses of fire, which separated the two of them. And Eliyahu went up by a whirlwind into the heavens. And Elisha saw it, and he cried out, my father, the chariot of Israel and its horsemen. And he saw him no more. Then he took hold of his garments and tore them into two pieces. And he took up the mantle of Eliyahu that had fallen from him, and went back and stood by the bank of the Jordan. And he took the mantle of Eliyahu that had fallen from him and struck the water, and said, where is Yahuwah Elohim of Eliyahu? And he struck the water, and it was divided this way and that, and Elisha passed over. Okay, so what I started to see here when I was reading this was I'm looking at the picture of the bride. And when I started doing a really deep study into this, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to start with this because there's so much in this portion right here.
Hey, Christina, should
Yeah.
we just start out with a summary of kind of why we believe that the bride might be taken on the null day coming up, or just, I mean,
I don't know if I could explain that coherently, but what I'm seeing here is that when we look at, I'm seeing order of events that match up with Revelation 12. And I guess maybe we can start there, just for my sake, because I'm not
I
really
got you. I
sure.
got you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just do the let me do this parallel real fast.
Okay.
And then you can take over because we have talked about this before and maybe this will kind of jog. So we're just not pulling this from nowhere. So we talked about Genesis 5, how there's lots of calendar information there. So if you go to Genesis 5:21, so it talks about Enoch. So Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. And after he begot Methuselah, Enoch walked with Yah 300 years and had sons and daughters. So the key verse here is I'm sorry, Genesis 5:23. So all the days of Enoch were 365 years. So we have understood the 300. So we know that the sun's circuit, right, takes 365 and a little less than a quarter to make it back to the starting point, which is crossing the equator, which ironically happened today, but it's the spring that is the full circle of the year. So even though Yah's calendar is actually only 364 days, so you have to do something with we call it the null and void day from Genesis 1:2. You have to do something with those days. And so right here, has given us a clue in verse 23. So all the days of Enoch were 365 years, day for a year principle. Day 365, Enoch, verse 24, walked with Yah, and he was not, for Elohim took him. He took him because he was righteous, right? So that day is represented as being taken away. And of course, the null and void, we point to Job, where the day of his birth, we believe he was born on a leap year, and his day also did not see the calendar. So again, Elijah was righteous, and you'll see those exact words that he was taken. So, and then, and if you go to Matthew 24, let me do that real fast. It talks about the righteous again, I do believe. So, Matthew 24, verse 39, and they did not know until the flood took them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. So this is not speaking of his return, but the protection. So Noah and his family were protected in a type of ark. The wise virgin will be protected also in a type of place of safety, like a place of ark. Right here, Matthew 24, verse 40, then two men, imagine Elijah and Elisha here as a type, two men will be in a field, one will be taken and the other left. Two women will be grinding at a mill, one will be taken, the other left. Why is one taken? Why are some left? We have the example of Enoch walking with Yah was taken, right? The wise virgins, Revelation, and the Philadelphian error, you will not see the hour, you will be protected from the hour of trial coming upon the whole earth, right? Um, Revelation 12, the woman was taken by wings of a great eagle and put in her place for a time's time and half a time. So I'm just saying we're seeing patterns in scripture. So we're just applying the patterns. So, okay, I'm just trying to build the foundation of
Yeah.
other patterns in scripture. So now take it and run.
All right. So thank you, Mitzi. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so number one, the first thing that caught me is the fact that Eliyahu was taken up into the heavens. Okay. So, and I'm reading further down and I realize, oh, wait a minute, we've got two people, and one of them is going to his father, right? He's going to our Father in heaven. He's going to meet him there. And so both Eliyahu and Elisha, they leave Gilgal. And I looked up Gilgal, and that word means wheel. Unfortunately, I don't have the Strong's number for it, but Gilgal means wheel. And when I looked it up, I found Deuteronomy 11:30, which, so let's go ahead and read that since we're here. Um, Deuteronomy 11:30. Are they not beyond the Jordan toward the setting sun in the land of the Canaanites who dwell in the desert plain opposite Gilgal beside the terebinth trees of Moreh? Well, um, Gilgal is mentioned there, but then it made me think of, oh, wait a minute, this is the last day that they mourned Moshe, which is 1130. There's only 30 days in the 11th month. And I'm also looking at numbers, so um, I there's just a lot of things in here, and I'm sorry if I tend to be all over the place, but that's my brain. So they started at Gilgal and they ended up at Bethel. And the first thing that Elisha says to Eliyahu is, I am staying with you. I don't want to leave you. Even though Elisha tells him to stay there, he refuses. And we see that in three verses. It's in verse 2, verse 4, and verse 6. And then when I talked about this, Mitzi was like, hey, that sounds like the foolish bride and the wise bride. And so, sure enough, when you look at Matthew chapter 25, verses 1 through 13, you have both the wise and the foolish. They're going out to meet Yahushua, but unfortunately, one of them can't because they don't have enough oil in their lamp. So just keep that in mind. So as I continued to read, now they're at the house of Yahuwah, which is Bethel in verse 2. And then the next place that they go to is Jericho. And again, Elijah asks Elisha to stay there, and he refuses. Well, I looked up the word Jericho, which is it's the moon. And then they went to another place, which is the Jordan, which means to descend. And then I knew that now we're talking about the dragon. And I don't know if you guys know that if you've ever watched movies or whatnot, like Star Wars, okay, I thought about the Death Star, okay, and it was being thrown down. So I went to Revelation chapter 12, and it says here, um, sorry, I'm in the wrong chapter. It says here now in verse 6, and the woman fled into the wilderness. So now Elijah and Elisha, they're out in the wilderness, okay? And the woman fled into the wilderness where she has a place prepared by Elohim to be nourished there 1,260 days. And there came to be fighting in the heaven. Michael and his messengers fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his messengers fought. For they were not strong enough, nor was a place found for them in the heaven any longer. And the great dragon was thrown out, that serpent of old, called the devil and the Satan, who leads all the world astray. He was thrown to the earth, and his messengers were thrown out with him. And so what we see here is the connection of Jericho and Jordan. And if you also remember too, in the book of Enoch, the moon is also known as unrighteous. Okay. And I believe that is in Enoch chapter 41, right here. It's in chapter 41, verse 8. For the sun changes oft for a blessing or a curse, and the course of the path of the moon is light to the righteous and darkness to the sinners in the name of Yahuwah, who made a separation between the light and the darkness and divided the spirits of men and strengthened the spirits of the righteous in the name of his righteousness. For no angel hinders and no power is able to hinder for he appoints a judge for them all, and he judges them all before him. So that was another connection for me that that this is a heavenly being that is thrown down. Um, ah, I kind of wish this was a conversation.
We can
This
make it
is
a
so hard.
conversation. Who has any thoughts or
Yeah.
questions?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'll give you a break here. I
thank
did
you.
forget. I did forget to say this when I was talking about Enoch being taken, which was back in Genesis 5. Let's see, yeah, Genesis 5:24. Enoch walked with Elohim, for he was not, and he took him. And we believe on the 300, at his 365th year, of course, which we equate to day 365. So the day, and we've shown you guys this, we think that the day that has to be taken away is the day after the 52nd Sabbath. And this will come into what Christina's talking about in 2 Kings here. So the null day has to go, it has to be taken out. Other people remove it other places, but we believe because the Genesis 1 creation week has to stay intact, that it so the day after the 52nd Sabbath, right? The next day or the first day of the week after that, we call it the eighth day. I think in the Dead Sea Scrolls it infers it's the eighth day as well. It's not in the calendar. So that's technically day
Mitzi,
365.
I'm sorry. We changed our understanding on that. And the eighth day, we moved to this first Sabbath.
The
Okay,
first
yeah, that's
Sabbath.
right. So I'll just stick with the null day. So, and then the null day, we get that. So it's the day after the 52nd Sabbath. But if you go to Genesis 1, to me, Yah is telling us what to name this day, right? In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and was void, and the darkness was on the face of the deep. So without form, null and void, null and void. Darkness was on the face of the deep. And then verse 3, and then Elohim said, "Let there be light." That's day 1. So it's the 52nd Sabbath in the year, the null day or day 365 that's removed, and then day 1, 2, 3 of creation. And then day 4, that's New Year's Day, right? And then day 5, 6, 7, that determines your Sabbath for the rest of that year. And then there's your menorah. Repeat that weekly cycle for 52 weeks. And then you have another null day, and that's how it works. Unless it's a leap year, then you have a null and a void day. So we believe with very much possibility that the wise virgins may be taken on that day 365, the same, right? Just like Enoch, who walked with the Father, was taken away, and that day represents the null day. So
Okay,
interesting. So,
yes.
I have a
And
question.
yep,
yeah.
Okay, so I know some people believe that the sun, moon, and stars are all created on the first day, but then um, were
Put in
were
motion.
then placed into the fourth day to a sign. I would like some clarity in that because I understand on the first day via Jubilees that all spirits were created on the first day. Is that correct? I mean, is that what your understanding? And that so that so that would also include the sun, moon, all the stars, all the animals, all the plants and trees, and us, right? That our spirits existed, all the angels, right?
there,
That
yeah,
we,
on day 1, Jubilees does state that all the
Yeah.
spirits he created was
so
on the first day.
so then just like we came into existence in our time, we were assigned a body and came into existence, that's how the sun, moon, and stars were came into existence on the fourth day. They weren't shining, they weren't doing anything until they were assigned a body. Does that make am I on the right track here?
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I can pick up what you're laying down.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because it seems like a lot of people believe that the sun, moon, and stars were created on the first day. Remember, it's Beverly, I think, and she was telling us because Yah said, "Let there be light." The sun was assigned to give light on the first day, but I understand it to be more of a spiritual light, and the light came from Yah, not from the sun.
I thought it was the sun. It was Yahusha's the light. They separated the light from the darkness.
I agree.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah,
you think that the sun was then created and assigned on the first day,
No,
and so
not
the
not
sun
not
gave
the
its light on the first day.
not
Okay.
the sun is we know it, but the sun SON was there, and he was the light, and that was the light that was there until day 4. Now, I don't understand for sure. I know I believe that all of our souls were created at that time, like you said, Deborah. But
yeah,
as
the
far
spirits.
as the sun, moon, and stars being put into the firmament, I think that happened on the 4th day. But whether that was an assignment, like you were saying, I don't know. But I
So do
believe
you
that
believe they were shining on the first day?
No, that's not what she's
no,
saying.
no.
Oh, okay.
No,
No.
we're in agreement, basically. Nobody's arguing
Yeah.
anything. I think
Yeah,
we're
No,
agreeing.
I'm
I
just
agree
wanting
with
I
Debbie.
just was trying to clarify because I
There
believe
was
the light that was shining on the first day was the Father, a spiritual light. It was a spiritual light, not coming from the sun.
That's the difference. Go ahead, Debbie.
well, I think it was the sun, Yahusha, that was the light, and he separated the light from the darkness because there was light day 1, but it wasn't like the SUN. It was the SON.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree too. Yep.
So
I've got a question.
Oh, goody.
I figured I'd butt in while I got a little chance.
It's tough.
um, the part where Messiah talks about, he said, "How did you get in here without a garment?" So somebody got inside the bridal chamber without a
Mhm.
garment.
hmm
Do you think it might be people that maybe get the calendar right, but they don't have other issues right, and they were able to go through something and kicks them out?
Yeah, that sounds about right to me, Lay.
Okay.
Or it got in got in a different. Christina, what were you were just talking about this?
Yeah, this would be somebody who was on a different calendar and realized, oh, hey, today is supposed to be the Sabbath. And then they go on to join, and it's like, no, I don't know who you are. They
Mm-hmm.
happened to get in. It was happenstance that, ooh, they just discovered it. And they didn't do any pressing. There was no there they have no oil to show that they've earned it, right? We all have to earn a spot in our
Right.
obedience and our pressing. And if you don't have it, you're not getting in. I
they weren't in
Correct.
the bridal chamber though. That person was in the reception, the wedding reception.
Uh-huh. Correct.
and he
Okay.
got kicked out. Yeah, they just weren't wearing the right garment. They weren't ready yet.
Right. It's just I was just thinking about that today. I wonder if they, like you're saying, Christina, they finally realized and they got the calendar right. They wasn't practicing it. They
Mhm.
got it and finally figured out they were wrong and incorrect. But I've also wondered, we see people that get the calendar correct, but yet they got bitterness and slander in their hearts
Mhm.
and unforgiveness in their hearts. So they might get the calendar right, but yet the other things are undone.
Yeah.
And he says, "How did you get in here? You're not. I don't know you. You are lawless."
Yeah.
I,
I absolutely agree with that. 100%.
I do too. And our
yeah,
Yeah.
sister Dawn was bringing up a point, I think that's similar to this, that like there's different areas that different people need to work on personally.
correct.
And that is, I think, you just summarized it, I think,
Yeah.
very well.
Because you see a lot of people in the calendar, but then they're accusing him of this and that. And if you're the accuser of the brethren, you're lining up for somebody that's not by Yah. So, uh,
Yeah. That's so cool that you even brought that. That always puzzled me. Like, how did that guest get into the wedding feast? How did they
I
even
know.
get in if they didn't have the right clothes?
Correct.
I Thank
Maybe they
you.
were able to go through that the day right, but yet I don't know. I don't know how that works. I was just
Well,
thinking today. So,
yeah, they had the right Sabbath. So they had the right date on,
yeah,
the invitation, I guess, said the right date.
I-
Oh, that's wild. Thank you. Huh. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but I always was fighting like, how could they get in if they don't have the right clothes? They just,
yeah. I'm just wondering, is it because they got the calendar right and they just
yeah.
their hearts are wrong? Because listen, I don't care. I used to tell people all the time, look, what are you going to do if other groups? What are you going to do if you're slandering your brother? You're putting him down. I'm right. This is y'all's calendar, and you guys don't know what you're talking about or whatever. And then you're standing before him, and he said, "Well, listen, you slandered your brother. You have unforgiveness and bitterness in your heart. And let me tell you something else. You got the calendar wrong. How's that? Because I know he resists the proud, and he gives favor to the humble. And anybody that's in prideful arrogance with the calendar stuff, I don't think they see it.
Mm-mm.
I don't think he's going to give it to them.
Mm-mm.
It's not their calendar. That's
No,
what blows my mind about people. They have so much ownership over that calendar. It's
it's
not your
not ours.
calendar.
It's not ours. And if we
Yeah.
see it, oh my God, thank you, Father. I mean, I'm not worthy to even see anything like this, but thank you.
So, uh,
Amen.
yes. So back to, I'm going to get down to verse 7 because now I'm going to connect what Mitzi was talking about at the 52 weeks. So in verse 7, and 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood facing them at a distance, while two of them stood by the Yarden. So right here we have 52. And the first thing I thought was, okay, this is at the end of the year, 52, after the 52nd week. And this is after the Shabbat, because we know that in that week, you've got the very end of the last year and you've got the very beginning of the first year, and there's 8 days in that week. And that was when we began connecting Genesis chapter 5, verse 24, with Enoch being taken up on that day. And so we're like, well, the scriptures seem to be pointing to that. So, and then in verse 8, and Eliyahu took his mantle, rolled it up, and struck the water, and it was divided this way and that, so that the two of them passed over onto dry ground. So I'm thinking that now that they have been, I guess, chosen, right? Now,
You know, I want to get my calendar and find it.
Oh,
I asked you.
now,
Okay.
I have to
No, you
talk
won't
to
be.
her, Debbie. I have to end this. I can't keep it open all night.
Yes, you can. But I have to stop what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
um,
October 14th,
Debbie,
5 p.m.
you what?
so I'm looking at week 52 and the possibility of them being taken, but they're also having to travel, right? So Eliyahu takes his mantle, he rolls it up, and he strikes the water. Well, where have we seen this? Let's go back to Revelation chapter 12, verses 15 and 16. And it says here, out out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river after the woman to cause her to be swept away by the river. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river, and the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed, those guarding the commands of Elohim and possessing the witness of Yahushua Messiah. And so I went and I looked up the word water. And we know that the word for water is mem, but it doesn't just mean water. It also means danger, violence, and transitory things. So they're basically in danger at this point because now you've got Hasatan chasing them, and he's chasing them with an army, right? With danger. And this, for the bride, this is also a transition, right? They're about to transition into something, I don't know, different. Okay.
Well,
I don't know how to say that, but
the division between the wise and foolish hasn't officially happened yet either. So, and also I was going to bring up the point, it's interesting that they're crossing the Jordan again, because if you go back to Joshua 3:13, before they crossed into the promised land, which is a type of the kingdom, so the Ark of the Covenant crossed over and the waters of the Jordan stopped. So there's that typology again as well. And of course, ancient Israel crossing the Red Sea again. So there's your parallels.
and what's also interesting is that when the mantle was struck on the water, it says in scripture that it was divided this way and that. And what we could piece together is that because the bride is coming from many different places in the world, it is going to be divided this way and that way. It's going to be different for all of these people who are having to endanger themselves to get through it, to get to safety. And then when we get to verse 11, it says, and it came to be as they continued on and spoke, that see a chariot of fire with horses of fire, which separated the two of them. And Eliyahu went up by a whirlwind into the heavens. And now we have the difference between the wise virgin and the foolish virgin. The wise virgin was taken up, and the foolish virgin was left behind for her pressing. She needs her pressing. What I thought was really cool was that the bride that was left now was given that spirit. When we back up and we go to verse 9, Elisha asks him, ask what I am to do for you and before I am taken away from you. And he asked him for a double portion of his spirit to be poured out upon him. And so the foolish bride, when they go back, that spirit, now they're going to come into the understanding of what they need to do in order to become a bride. And that bride will have to go through the guillotine. That's the only way. It's through death, because the first half of the bride was already taken up. The other part of the bride, she has to go through the tribulation. And this is Smyrna, right? We're looking at Philadelphia that was taken up, and now we're looking at, I don't think it's Smyrna, it's the other one, Sardis.
Laodicea and
Yeah.
Laodicea. Yeah, martyrdom,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, they die as martyrs.
Are you
And
saying beheaded?
yes,
You are
Yeah.
saying beheaded. Okay.
yes, they are beheaded. They're the only ones
They're
that,
the ones under the throne?
Yes.
Yes.
Christina, I've been seeing the same thing. I've been talking to Jeremy about it.
Mhm.
I've been seeing the exact same thing that you're seeing.
Hmm.
Oh, good.
That some are ready and some are not.
Right.
And you're going to need a double portion to get through that great tribulation.
Amen.
That's it
Amen.
right there. You just nailed it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
right here it is. Y'all tells us in Revelation 20, verse 4, and some of them make it. They make it. Revelation 4, and I saw thrones, and they sat on them, and judgment was committed to them. Then I saw souls of those who had been beheaded for their witness to Yahusha and for the word of Elohim, who had not worshipped the beast or his image, and had not received his mark or their foreheads on their hands. Right there it says, had been beheaded for their witness.
Right.
But yet they're right there beside Yahusha on his throne.
Under the throne, I believe.
No, they're resurrected as the bride. They are now ruling with
But
Yahusha.
at one point in Revelations, they're under the throne, that these are not?
That's during the
Oh,
tribulation. They
That's
get
during the
resurrected after the
tribulation.
tribulation.
Oh, okay.
I said Revelation 20, verse 4.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and you're right. They are martyred, and because they remain faithful to death, they did make it. And then they lived and reigned. If you keep reading, they lived and reigned with Yahusha for 1,000 years. Blessed and holy is he who has part in the first resurrection. So it's clear that they made it into the first resurrection. So guys, if you don't make it, don't give up. Don't give up. Pray for that extra spirit so you can be
Make it
martyred.
through.
And he promises to give you help so you can do it. So
Amen. 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 Yeah, exactly. I see it the same way.
Okay. And
Wonderful.
now the second half of 2 Kings chapter 2 is about the 144,000 physical Israel that is left.
Hey,
And I'll go ahead.
Christina,
Yeah.
just one more thing. Did you mentioned verse 4 and 6, the 46 days
Oh,
from,
you're right. You're right.
yeah,
I did not do that. Thank you
okay,
for reminding me.
yeah.
Okay, so 46, 4 and 6 is 46. So remember when I told you that they started off at Gilgal, and that was where I found Deuteronomy 11:30. So that's the 30 days that Moshe was mourned, and then with the count beginning on the first day of the 12th month and counting 46 days, not counting the null day, it lands on Passover, or our Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Yeah.
It lands right on the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Which
So,
we might know marks the 1260.
yeah,
The start of the countdown of 1260, which matches Revelation 12, the time and half a time that she's protected. So,
right. And
Yeah.
what's also interesting here is that when we get down to 7 and 8, after the 52nd week, now you're starting on the first day of the first month. 7 plus 8 is 15. That is the 15th day of the first month. And that is also first day of unleavened bread. So it's all pointing to the 1260 days, which I think is amazing. And there was something else that I wanted to mention too about the water. In the AHLB, the word water can also mean something that is unknown. It can also be the question of how, why, and when. So, and that's been the question that I've been having is, are those things how, why, and when? And we are getting an answer here. And and the other thing too is I'm also seeing that the bride is likely going to be picked up by a heavenly chariot. I believe that is entirely possible. Uh, nothing is too hard for our Father in heaven to carry out what he's going to do. So if he took up Eliyahu, who represents the bride, he will certainly do that for the people who are meant to be taken at that time.
Does anyone happen to know the date of Noah's birth? If you don't, it's okay. But I just wanted to point out the connection in, okay, Christina, you're working towards, or we have been talking about the possibility of the null day being the day that the bride would be
Yes.
taken to a place of safety. And I'm thinking it's just so interesting that we know that the null day is, well, we don't know this. I believe that that was the birth of Enoch. Um, and that was the day that he was taken up on exactly the day that he turned 365. And then the same thing for Daniel, or the 1335 is connected to Moses's birthday, 11/1, and that was the day he was born and that he died. And then Lee brought to our attention that Jeremiah brings up the what we consider to be the void day, curses the day of his birth. We believe that's the second witness to the leap year. So Job and Jeremiah both born and died. I'm just thinking, like, it's just very interesting. I know like we're not supposed to celebrate birthdays or something like that, but it is something he puts in the word. They have significance, otherwise they wouldn't be there. And so that's why I was asking about Noah, because all of these prophets, so interesting, connecting to this calendar and what we're talking about right now. I was just wondering if anybody knew what Noah, it would be great to like know that and see if there's any connection.
Wouldn't that be, doesn't the 150 days begin? Okay, the flood, 150 days. Would that be the first day of unleavened bread, maybe? I
No,
don't,
that would have been no, it would have started on the 17th day. The rain started on the 17th day of the second month.
correct.
Could that be his birthday?
Could be.
No.
No? Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. But that was also the same day that manna fell for the Israelites out in the wilderness.
And I even have the same day that Satan enters the garden. Quail fell in the evening before.
Yeah, they were out
Oh,
collecting it that
interesting.
night. Yeah,
And a lot of them died the next day.
yeah, they did.
Wow.
Did anybody have any questions or anything before we move on to the other?
No, just thinking of the quails, a picture of looking at the flesh instead of the
Flesh.
spiritual manna. And
Amen.
um,
Desiring the flesh.
Instead
yeah,
of the bread.
correct.
Yep. The
And
spiritual bread.
just
Yep.
thinking of, those that are ready before and those who are not. We have those scriptures putting to death the deeds of the flesh. And if you don't put to death the deeds of the flesh before that time of the last 3.5 years, he's going to actually put to death your literal flesh
Yes,
for you.
it's true.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question going back a little bit? Lee brought up the wedding garment. So I went back and read that whole account. That's a lot more um information, and maybe this isn't appropriate to bring it up at this point. So tell me if that's true. But nobody wanted to come to the wedding. The servants went out and they bid to the wedding and nobody wanted to come.
That's that fleshy pull again. We want
Yeah.
to do what we want to do.
Well, they were on the wrong Sabbath.
I understand, but
They
it's
wanted to do what they wanted to do.
Yeah, it wasn't convenient.
well,
Right.
and then they
Right.
said, tell them that which are bidden, behold, I prepared the dinner, and everything's ready, and then come unto the marriage, and they made light of it and went their ways, yeah. And then the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them. So the servants got killed. But the king heard thereof, and he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed the murderers. My goodness, this is huge.
Yeah. It's like in Hebrews, like it's the table prepared for us in the
Yeah,
presence of our enemies. And even though our enemies are hitting us with all this doctrine of this and that and false doctrine and dogma, he set out a table for us now to get a hold of it now and eat of that table.
yeah.
And if
And
we'll eat of that table, then we'll and be ready to put to death the deeds of the flesh and totally just come out of this world. We'll be ready.
right. And it
And
said
boy,
that,
has he set us a table, hadn't
oh
he?
my gosh. And the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. So it says, go ye into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. But then he saw this, and the king came in and he sees the guest, and he saw the man which not had on a wedding garment. And he said unto him, Friend, how canst thou come hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless, and they tied him and took him out into weeping and outer darkness. For many are called, but few are chosen. I think that's powerful. And I don't think I've read it quite like that before.
Sure. And there's also other scriptures that he will bring the called with him also. It's just that they're just not prepared before that time.
But they
And
went out
I
to the
think,
highways to gather more people.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's probably us.
Well, that could be. I
Yes.
did
On the
want to get
highway,
off the
right?
flow, but that was
No.
powerful.
So,
No unclean thing will walk on that highway.
Mm.
I don't want to change the subject. Are we still, where are we right now? Are we still talking about anything, or is it safe
Yeah.
for me to ask a different?
Yeah, we're still in 2
Yeah.
Kings.
We are. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just diverted.
Okay. Okay.
Shame on me.
We're
Okay.
on one of our notorious rabbit trails.
We're
Sorry,
good for that.
sorry for diverting you guys.
No.
No, it was fitting. It was good.
It
It
is.
was,
It's always spirit, it's always has some, as long as it's within,
It's got relevance.
yes, it does.
yeah.
It all does. It's all connected.
Okay, so the second half, I'm going to start at 15 and finish at 25.
Hold on, wait 1 sec. Let me get there. You're starting at 15. Okay, go
Uh-huh.
ahead.
I
I'm
just
gonna,
want to add this scripture. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's relevant.
okay.
Okay, and this is for the physical 144,000. So I stumbled on Second Esdras chapter 13:47. So that's where he separates the waters for them coming back.
What was
Which
the address again?
Second Esdras chapter 13 verse 47.
Thank
And
you.
and I think that ties into the chapter 14 again, because Elisha strikes the water, and I think it leads the way for those folks too. But I'll read it to you. Let me see. I found it and then I shut the book.
You're good. You're good.
Um, but I thought, wow, see, it's the same patterns, over and over. Here it is. Okay, so, and then I'll start in verse 46. Then dwelt they there, talking about the lost tribes, until the latter time. Now, when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore, you saw the multitude with peace. So it talks about, staying the waters back so they can walk through. Isn't that interesting?
That was second Esdras 13:46.
Sorry.
47.
46 and 47.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's in the context of Israel coming back to Israel at the end times.
yeah.
What do you think about the part where he's talking about, I'm in bed with my children, but they keep persisting. The woman keeps persisting, persisting, and persisting. It looks like a year time frame. And what do y'all see on that?
Where is that? Because I know I have notes in my Bible about what I think that is, but
Yeah, where is that, Lee?
Oh, you know what? I can't think of it off the top of my head, and I'm not anywhere where I could pull that
it's
up.
okay. We'll
I'll
talk.
look
Okay.
for it.
Is that also in Second Ezra?
No, I believe that
No,
In
in
one of the
the
Gospels, right? It's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
Oh,
parable.
okay.
yes.
I don't know why I can't think of that.
Like he's saying, if you go to your friend's house and he's sleeping and he asks for a loaf of 3 loaves of bread or something like that,
Oh,
you know.
okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know where
Okay.
that's at. It's very familiar though.
Luke 11:7, maybe?
Well, let's take a look.
And the one inside answers and says, Do not trouble me. The door is now shut, and my children are with me in bed, and I cannot rise and give them to you.
Oh, yeah, that must be it. And he said to them, which of you shall have a friend and go to him at midnight
Mm-hmm.
and say to him, friend, lend me 3 loaves?
Yeah, they go 5 through 13 then. 11, Luke 11, 5 through 13.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of wondering
Okay, so all right, this is what I have. Okay, sorry, let me just go back. I have for lead us not into temptation, or let us not fall into temptation, but deliver us from evil. I have these are the wise virgins, and
mm-hmm.
I have a verse connecting us to James 1:13. And I think there's another, isn't this in Matthew too, or am I wrong?
I have Matthew 25:6, connecting it to the wise versions. I've also got Revelation 3:7 through 10, Philadelphia. And I've also got Exodus 12:42 with that.
Okay, here's Matthew 7 through 11. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find it. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth. To him that knocketh it shall be opened. Or what man is there of you whom his son ask bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye know them being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask for him? So that is a picture of go, if you're knocking at your neighbor's door, you're asking him for bread. Um, if you keep digging and pestering him,
Persistent.
he's
Don't
gonna give
ever
it to
give
you.
up.
Persistence. Yeah.
Yeah,
Persistence and
persistent.
begging the Father for what you need, and that is Him and His Word and His understanding and all that.
And the
I
And the
persistent.
ones in bed, the ones in bed with him, well, a bed is a place of rest. It's not a literal,
Um,
he's just trying to show you an action form that the bed is where you sleep and where you have rest. And they are in rest with him in that first taking away. And the other ones are persisting. And maybe he said they'll fast in those days. So maybe they're really literally persisting and seeking him at that point because they missed the first one.
It also
oh
reminds me of the old woman who kept going to the judge, and he finally broke down and
Yeah,
gave her what she wanted.
the widow against the unrighteous judge even finally gave in.
Yes.
and when
But
you were talking about the bed and the rest and stuff like that, that's like those who they were keeping, if they're in covenant, they're keeping His correct Sabbath.
Yes. It's a picture of the wise virgins, the ones that are in bed. He's in bed with his children, but the other ones are persisting after that's already happened and the door is shut.
Yep.
the unwise virgins.
Correct.
And these are, and this is Smyrna. It's actually Smyrna, not Sardis. They're the ones that they don't get reprimanded, but they have to go through the pressing and die.
And it says they'll have tribulation 10 days. What is the significance of the 10 days?
Well,
Well,
isn't it like the time between Yom Teruah and Yom Kippur?
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're having to go through a pressing for 10 days.
Correct.
To get that oil that they need.
Yeah.
There's no easy way.
No.
It requires walking and being pressed in your walk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how do you get in here? Like there's Christina, you made a connection too, like sneaking in the back window, like or the back door or whatever,
Mm.
right? Was that you that I was talking to?
That was, yeah, and that was what Lee had just brought up
Yeah.
about the uninvited guests.
Right. But started talking about that, but we never got to that verse about that. You know which verse I'm talking about, like sneaking in through the back door.
Um, I can't even remember where that's at because I know that came into my mind when we were talking about it. How did you get in here? They went through a different way. They
Yeah.
came in a different way.
We got to find that. If anybody knows what verse that
Is
is,
that the sheep gate? Was that the sheep gate getting in another way? That they were going
maybe
to climb in the sheep gate another way?
Well, like Messiah says, if you climb up any other way other
that's
than
You're a
through
thief,
him,
that's
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
you're a thief and a
You're not
robber.
gonna make it.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, you're a robber and a thief going
Mhm.
in that way.
Right.
And no,
That's
I don't have the verse off the top of my head. It's just when I read, I make connections, but I don't know where the verses are. I know I've read them.
there's
They
somewhere.
exist.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Okay. Sorry we went somewhere else.
No, no, that's
Back
okay. This is
to
so fun.
2 Kings, verse 2 or chapter 2, verse 15.
Okay.
Caroline just mentioned Luke 18, 1 through 8, the
Oh,
window and unrighteous judge.
Thanks, Carolyn.
oh, thank you, Carolyn. Um, can what was that address again? I'm very sorry.
Luke 18, 1 to 8.
Thank you. Okay.
What was the other verse you were looking for, Christina, just a second ago that you were talking about?
That was the one where they were, if this is the one where oh, where the guy got into the wedding and he wasn't supposed to be there. How'd
No,
you
no,
do?
no. It's the one
Oh,
where
not
if
that
you
one.
sneak in through another way, you're a robber and a
Oh,
thief.
you're a robber and a
I-
thief. Yes.
Isn't that John 10:1?
Maybe.
Well, let's look at it.
Got it?
John
Yes, that's
10.
it.
Okay.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the fold of the sheep, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber.
Yes. Yep, that was
And
it.
I just went to the first translation that a bunch of them show up. But anyways,
Thanks, Debbie.
So that would point to the calendar door and also trying to
Yahusha.
yes, and trying to produce the fruit without him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Him exalting you instead of you sitting on the back seat of the back row and let him exalt you. You've exalted yourself.
Exactly.
Exalted yourself, and he didn't do it. You're probably a thief and a robber.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Oh, my secret giving me don't even care if I have a car.
Okay, so chapter 2, verse 15. And when the sons of the prophets who were from Jericho saw him, they said, the spirit of Eliyahu rests on Elisha. And they came to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. And they said to him, look, there are 50 strong men with your servants. Please let them go and search for your master, lest the spirit of Yahuwah has taken him up and cast him upon some mountain or into some valley. But he said, send no one. But they pressed upon him till he was ashamed, and he said, send. So they sent 50 men, and they searched for 3 days, but did not find him. And they returned to him, for he remained in Jericho. And he said to them, did I not say to you, do not go? And the men of the city said to Elisha, look, the site of this city is good, as my master sees, but the waters are spoilt and the soil barren. And he said, bring me a new bowl and put salt in it. And they brought it to him. And he went out to the source of the water and threw salt in there and said, thus said Yahuwah, I have healed this water, no longer shall death or barrenness come from it. And the waters were healed to this day, according to the word of Elisha, which he spoke. And he went up from there to Bethel. And as he was going up the way, some youths came from the city and mocked him and said to him, go up, bald head, go up, bald head. And he turned around and looked at them and pronounced a curse on them in the name of Yahuwah. And 2 female she-bears came out of the forest and tore to pieces 42 of the youths. And from there he went to Mount Carmel, and from there he returned to Shomerone. So what clued me in that this was now the 144,000 is in verse 17. And where there were 50 men and they were searching for 3 days. Well, 50 times 3 equals 150. And they didn't find him. So when I saw the 150 days, I knew that this was the 150 day count or the 5 months where in Revelation 9, the bottomless pit is opened, but before it's opened, 144,000 of the Israelites in Revelation chapter 7 are sealed. All who sigh and cry. And this is also in Ezekiel chapter.
Weeping for the abominations in the land. Yes.
Yes, yes. This is, and it's also found in Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4, I believe. Yes. So they're all given a mark, and they're hid away for 150 days, which is at the end or toward the end of the 3.5 year tribulation. And so
What you were reading about the 50 days
uh-huh.
there in Kings, look at Luke 16:6 and see if that ties in with everything, anything. And it's about the oil also.
Okay. Luke 16:6, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
100 measures of oil. Take your bill and sit
Oh,
down
wow.
quickly and write 50.
Mm.
That's sort of like coming in another way, right? Like a cheat.
Right. Oh, wow. And then 100 measures of wheat. Take your bill and write 80.
Mm.
Yep, that is getting in the other way, isn't it? That's cheating. Wow.
I'm cheating. I'm just sitting here listening to y'all give it to me.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
That's a
that's
good one.
okay. Um, I really don't have anything between verses 19 and 22. I'm not sure about that.
So sorry to go back to where we just were. In verse 8, it says, "And the Lord commanded the unjust steward because he had done wisely." It's just interesting, he's calling him wise. "For the children of this world in their generation, wiser than the children of light." What?
Oh, shrewd. Mine says shrewd. And shrewd means sneaky wise, right?
Wise as a blank, harmless as a dove.
Yes.
Yeah. Wise as a serpent.
Worldly wise means
Right.
you know how to play the system, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds kind of like the Rothschilds, right?
Yeah.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
That's what they would
That
say.
is what they would say.
Yeah, that ain't nothing but snake oil.
Ye
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Yes. Wow. Okay. So, when we get to verse 24, well, 23 and 24, he is he is basically mocked by a whole bunch of, I'm going to say, juveniles. And so he turns around and he pronounces a curse in the name of Yahuwah on them. And the two female bears, when I came upon this, is a representation of the bride, and it's also a representation of the 144,000. the 144,000, they are going to come out of the 42-month tribulation. And it's interesting here that 42 youths who represent wickedness, they were torn apart by these bears, which in my mind, this is their overcoming the enemy, right? The bride and the 144,000 of Israel overcoming the wickedness of the 42 months of tribulation. And very interesting here is that, and from there he went to Mount Carmel, which means garden land. And the Strong's number is H3760, and he returned to Shomerone. And Shomerone means watch mountain.
Wow.
To keep, observe, guard, and heed.
Wow.
So basically the 144,000 through the 42 months, they have to watch, guard, keep the Torah throughout. And I'm thinking they would also be learning as well.
What did you say Carmel meant?
It means garden land. And the Strong's number for Shomerone is H8104.
Yeah. You know, when I used to study the Bible a lot, I would always notice these numbers, and I knew he didn't waste words. They were there for a reason, but I could never, I'm like, what is all this stuff? You know, because you knew it meant something, but how in the world would you ever understand why 42 kids, or probably mean teenagers, whatever? I knew it, and I was like, Father, what is that? I know you're telling us something, but I have no clue. You know,
And
interesting.
see, right. And us, we would just call them a gang.
Yeah,
not
right,
not
right.
address any number or anything to it. But yeah, Father thought of everything. He knew we would be looking.
Yeah,
So yeah, he knew it all. He knew what we
yeah.
were gonna do and ask for.
And he was laughing. He's like, you can't handle it right now. Moon lady.
But that that is that is basically the study that I did on 2 Kings, and that's what I saw, and immediately connected it to the bride and to the 144,000.